All right. So we got to talk about Lauren Boebert and how full of shit she is, which I know is not new, but I do think it's interesting because she's a Christian and the children. So, if any of you haven't heard, which I'm sure you have if you follow politics, she got kicked out of a Beetle Juice play, a family friendly Beetle Juice play, because she was screaming and hooting and hollering and vaping in front of a pregnant woman who asked her to stop, and she was like, kick rocks. And she was getting felt up by her boyfriend. Okay, so listen, do I have a problem with people doing what they want to do? No. The problem is when you build your entire personality and your whole brand on family values, then you shouldn't be doing shit like this. Now, that's overstating the obvious, but I think that the actual key takeaway of this is that she is just wanting to be an influencer. That's it. She doesn't care about anything she says. She doesn't believe anything she says. She's a performer. That's it. A lot of people who are MAGA or conservatives, they're fine with that. They don't care about policy. They don't care about family values. They just care about vibes. And she wants to be an influencer and they love her for that. They don't care that she's a fake Christian, okay? She tweeted not that long ago, take your kids to church, not drag shows, because she's very concerned about the children, okay? Turns out her mystery man is a Democrat and he owns a bar that is gay friendly and that does drag shows. Okay. So that right there to me gives the entire game away and shows that this whole thing is about performance art. Because even setting the hypocrisy aside that she's like, don't do drag shows, family values, blah, blah, blah. Even if you set that aside, she constantly calls Democrats evil. All the time. Liberals are evil. Democrats are evil. I'm a Christian. If you really believed that, why are you dating one? If you really believed that drag shows were evil and that liberals were evil, why are you getting felt up by one? And why are you going to a family-friendly show with the children and getting felt up and vaping in front of a pregnant woman? What happened to the children? Here's the clip of her getting felt up. Now, she lied about that. She lied. She said that it never happened. She wasn't vaping. She was just taking pictures. All of that obviously is a lie. But again, no one is surprised that she's a liar. No one. But the fact that she was getting felt up in a family-friendly play by her Democrat, bar-owning, drag-friendly show boyfriend is amazing. But again, the more amazing part is that people will just make excuses for her. So she made the rounds. She went on all the shows, all the right-wing shows and stuff, and just lied, of course. Lied. Here's what you need to understand about people like Lauren Boebert. She just wants to make money and be an influencer. Again, that's it. That's all. These people are not really Christians, okay? There are so many fake Christians. Like, they need their own category. The evangelicals, the white evangelicals that are right-wing, need their own category because they're not actually Christians. They're just white nationalists who worship a golden calf and an idol in the form of Trump. And they all just want to be rich and they want to be famous and have power because that's exactly what she got. When you go into Congress because our government is so corrupt, all you need to do is start trading stocks, which should be illegal and used to be illegal, but isn't now. And you can become a multimillionaire by serving the people. But you don't actually have to do anything. She doesn't do anything except for play her role. She goes on Twitter and she talks shit about Democrats and says that they're evil and that we need to have a civil war and all of this other nonsense that she doesn't even believe because behind the scenes, she's partying it up with her Democrat boyfriend. I feel like a lot of people in the leftist space or in the lefty, liberal, whatever space don't understand that these people are just fake not really Christian white nationalists. And I say that because most people that I know that are on the left are not religious. They're not spiritual. They're usually agnostic or they're atheists. Obviously, that's not everybody, but that is a lot of the people who identify as leftists or on the left. So they're like, oh yeah, of course, like fake Christian, whatever. But if you are someone who is religious, if you are a Christian, then what you need to understand is that this is a cult. It's not Christianity. It is not the New Testament. It is not non-denominational Christianity. It is not Jesus-centered. It is not following Christ. This is a cult of personality. It's about power. It's about racism. It's about money. And the problem is, there is really no one in the political space that really pushes back on that or really gets into the weeds about that. Because they're either the fake Christians that are supporting these fascists, or they're liberals or leftists who don't believe in God anyhow. This isn't like, oh, they're just being hypocritical. They're falling short of their beliefs. No, they don't believe it. They don't believe in anything. These people are not Christians. Full stop. End of story. Which, speaking of being in a cult, that brings me to what's been happening with Russell Brand. No one is surprised who knows anything about Russell Brand that he's a scumbag. Everyone knows that. I used to like Russell Brand. I read his book like 10 years ago because I'm an addict in recovery and he's an addict in recovery, and I like the fact that he was in recovery. But even himself, he's admitted that he's a huge scumbag. So when it comes out, allegations that he sexually assaulted young girls, that's not surprising at all. But the most amazing part about it to me, but not surprising, is the right wing running to his defense and claiming that, it's just a witch hunt and he's speaking truth to power, so that's why they're coming after him. First of all, you're not speaking truth to power. You're just making money. He's on Rumble. He has a deal where he's making millions and millions of dollars. I love this idea that the right goes, they're really calling out the establishment. You're not calling out the establishment if you work for a corporation that is also owned by a billionaire. Like, make it make sense. All the people that are rallying around him, I also find funny because they're like, Hollywood is so evil. It's full of pedophiles. Everybody in Hollywood is evil. Except for the people I like. So they hate Hollywood and they hate actors and it's all a huge Jeffrey Epstein cabal. But then when it comes to somebody they like Russell Brand, all of a sudden he's innocent. He's just a crusader for truth. He is standing up against the oligarchy and the establishment, and they're trying to take him down. Who's trying to take you down? You're speaking truth to power. Like, I saw a tweet by Jimmy Dore, who, he is a whole other fucking grifter, where he's like, look at what they're doing to us. Right. Because you in your garage screaming at the camera about vaccines and you get paid by a billionaire to do certain content is you threatening the establishment. That's why these people never talk about the owning class overall. You know what I mean? Like, here's what you need to understand. If these people really hated the owning class and were working class champions who wanted to call out the elites, they would do it across the board. But it's never across the board. It's always George Soros, liberal Hollywood. Well, what about right-wing Hollywood? What about people like Russell Brand, who totally changed his entire ideology in order to bring in that type of listener into his fold and to make money? What about him? And what about the elites in the establishment that own the courts on the right? People like Leonard Leo. You never talk about them. What about the elites of the elites of the elites? Like the people that sit on the Supreme Court. that are making money by selling access. What about them? No, not elite. Oh, right, because they're on your side. What this gives away, again, is that they don't actually give a fuck about any of these things. This is just tribalism. It's rank tribalism. I like my guy and I don't like your guy. There is no consistent standard. There's no consistent principle. Because again, if they had a consistent principle, they would be talking about corporate power, money, not corporate power like, oh, the Disney's woke and had like a gay character. No, we're talking about Bob Iger union busting, trying to break a strike. If you actually cared about working class people and were against the elites, you would be talking about money. Money on both sides. You wouldn't just make your entire channel and your whole personality like Jimmy Dore does about Democrats, 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 liberals, 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 liberals. You would be calling out all the power structures on the right. You would be calling out all the power structures in corporate media, including those in right-wing media, but you'll notice they never say anything negative about Fox or Newsmax. You would hear them talking about the power imbalances in all of these corporations when it comes to wages and stock buybacks. But do you hear them talk about that? No. What they do is they pick a niche like vaccines and they make their whole thing about that because they can pretend that they're challenging a power structure without actually challenging it. Do you see them talking about how to take down Pfizer or any other corporation that is in big pharma because of money? Because of the payoffs? No. Do you hear them talking about the Sackler settlement and how we need to change the laws to hold those people accountable and how they should be in jail? No. It is this fake populism that drives me insane because it's so transparent. Like, my mind is blown at the fact that anybody would believe this, which is what leads me to believe that a lot of these people are just fascists. Because if you actually were for the working class, if you actually cared about populism, you would care about the policy. It wouldn't just be about vibes and who I hate. It wouldn't just be, hey, Dr. Fauci, something. It would be about power structures and actually going after them. But none of them do. None of them do. It's all just posturing. And if you watch that and you're okay with the fact that they don't actually challenge corporate America or real power structures in any meaningful way, then you're not a populist. And you don't care about the working class. And you don't care about holding elites accountable. Because that goes back to money and power. You just care about vibes. I am never going to be okay or shut up about fake populism, full of shit bootlickers who pretend to really want to take it to the elite, but are actually serving the elite and worshiping the ground that their elite walk on. And about fake Christians. The same fake Christians that pretend that they care about family values and Jesus. But you haven't heard the name Jesus in a while, have you? No, you never hear it. They don't believe in Jesus. It's all a show. If you are a Christian, you should know that. And you should care. And you should be aware of that. The Bible talks about false prophets and false idols all the time. All the time. So if you find yourself getting caught up in wanting to defend a corrupt politician or a corrupt celebrity because of your culture war bullshit, then you really need to do some self-examination and ask yourself why that is and what you really believe.